John Lyons, co-ignomed. 5 minutes remaining.
I suppose the time is short, and I just want to get really to the point. And I think the frustration that has been expressed by Minister Perry, I actually feel exactly what he's saying. I was sitting upstairs watching the monitor on previous speakers, and I was asking myself coming down here, what is the actual purpose of Sinn Féin's private members' motion tonight? And apart from just to kick the government in an opportunistic way, as opposition parties do, I genuinely couldn't see any other transparent reason. The only thing I could agree with no disrespect to Derek Cleary, is that, the mismanagement of the previous government is just horrendous. And anybody who spends more than 5 minutes of a day actually delving into what actually went on to allow 250,000 jobs, 90,000 or thereabouts of jobs to be lost each year, it drives you absolutely insane, and it's embarrassing. But there's two things I just want to point out, and last Carl, I wouldn't mind if you just let me know when I have 1 minute to go, so I know. There was two things. Deputy McClelland, while I was upstairs, I heard you say two things. You described Labour and Fine Gael's response as disastrous, and that we don't care. And I have to say, as a backbencher who works his backside off, like these two guys have been, and you heard what they've done as well, I find it absolutely, incredibly insulting to think that we're a government that don't care. I just find that incredible. I live in an area that would agree with many of the things you've said here. I can see poverty, I can see unemployment around me, I can see particularly youth unemployment around me, and it's because of lots of reasons, and it's because of lots of successive bad reasons and decisions that were taken in previous governments. But if we're a government that don't care, do you think, if we didn't care, do you think we would develop such a thing as a youth guarantee scheme? Do you think Richard Bruton and Joan Burton would have been over in Brussels last week brokering a €6 billion deal to deal with the biggest issue that we're facing in Europe and in Ireland, which is youth unemployment? If we didn't care, would we be bringing in a pilot scheme in Ballymun to actually give people who you're talking about the opportunities to upskill so that they can actually take some of the jobs that they can't at the moment? If we didn't care, would we be implementing social clauses to allow for new jobs that are coming down the line to be taken up by unemployed people? If we didn't care, would we introduce something like a Jobs Plus scheme, which actually gives incentives to businesses who are maybe just almost there but can't exactly afford to take on new people? Would we be giving them incentives to take on new people? If we didn't care, would we be giving all the people who have all the qualifications from university but lacking the experience, would we be developing a job bridge scheme, which has a 52% success rate, and after 5 months of somebody being on the job bridge, leaving the job bridge scheme, it goes to 62%. Now, you may ask, well, what about the people who left? Or what about the people who weren't successful? Well, when all the people who didn't fulfil or complete the job bridge scheme were asked, 2/3 of those people left because they took up a job. So if we didn't care, we wouldn't be developing a youth guarantee scheme. We wouldn't be developing social clauses to try and get people back to work and give them the skills. We wouldn't be developing Springboard. We wouldn't be developing Momentum, which exactly talks about the long-term unemployed people that you're saying that we don't care about. Now, if we didn't care about them, we wouldn't be developing courses and asking them, to upskill in jobs that are available. And in fact, if we had more people upskilled in them, we know from private industry that they would actually come here and invest. So if we're not a caring government, why are we doing all of these caring things? I have to say it, I think it's so insulting and demoralising from an opposition party. And the two people there, I genuinely have the height of respect, and they both know it. But this is politics in here tonight, and you're pulling a fast one. You're looking for an opportunistic moment to say that these guys are not doing a good job. But the facts speak for themselves. We're doing a hell of a good job in the very, very bad times we find ourselves in. We brought this country from a place where more people were leaving than we could allow to leave. Now we're turning that about.
1 minute remaining, and it's probably too late for me to say you should speak through the chair.
Oh, the chair, come on, okay. Tá Brown or him. I suppose I was just really getting into it. But just to really finish up at the end of the day, 250,000 people lost their jobs in the last administration. In the last 15 months, 15,000 people were given new jobs. We had net jobs of 15,000. This is a caring government, Lascian Corla. We do care about our society and the people in our society. That's why we have the pathways to work. That's why we have the Action Plan on Jobs Part 2. And give it time, it will deliver. We inherited an absolutely disastrous situation, and we are doing the best, and in fact, we are seeing shoots on the ground, and let's be honest about that. Let's be honest in here. God forbid a politician come in here and be honest. We are making changes, and we are making changes for the better. And, you know, the reason why I don't believe Sinn Féin, Lascian Corla, is I stood in the general election in 2011, and I saw billboarded all over Ballymun and Finglas, on huge billboards, this phrase which says, "We will reverse the budget cuts." That's what Sinn Féin says to the people. You're being opportunistic. You knew back then you couldn't reverse the budget cuts. You knew you couldn't do it. And the fact is, because even in your stimulus plan, you realised that we still have to have a 3.5 billion deficit. So you told fibs to the people back then. You've told fibs to the people constantly since then. And tonight you're telling fibs to us saying that this government isn't doing a good job. Will you ever wake up and join us and maybe give some constructive criticism, or maybe less of the fantasy economics and more of the real sound, grounded economics, which will actually give life and dignity to the people that we're talking about tonight. Because the biggest thing we can do to people is give them £1 in their pocket or €1 in their pocket and a bit of dignity so they can go out there and work. And that's what this Action Plan on Jobs has been doing. That's what this Pathways to Work has been doing. And that's what every single backbencher and frontline minister and junior minister has been doing every single day for the last 2 years. It's to turn this economy around, to give people a reason to participate in society. Thank you, Lascian Corla.
Deputy Derek O'Leary.